mom's and stay at her house when she's home.
All right, it is Monday, September 7th at 6 p.m. We'll call our meeting to order and start off with the roll call.
Simonson? Rickrell?
Yes.
Lyon?
Yes.
Colister?
Yes.
Coolman? Alinger?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
All right, next we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we get an approval for tonight's agenda? Motion by Bennett,
Second.
seconded by Alinger. Any discussion? Then take the roll.
Lyon?
Yes.
Colister?
Yes.
Alinger?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Rickrell?
Yes.
Okay, next is public participation. Do we have anybody in the audience who wishes to address the council? Anybody on Zoom? Okay, not, we'll move on. We have no presentations. That brings us to our public hearing. And it's a public hearing on the matter of East Platt Street Drainage Project, about the plans and specifications.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you. And tonight, we're discussing only 2 public hearings. We'll have to do a couple more in the future regarding this project, but we're very close. On this one, this is regarding the construction plans for the basin that you see in the resolution item attached later. To summarize this in some way that maybe makes a little sense is this land area has been studied by Origin Design IAW back to about early 2000 when the city was considering different strategies to resolve a water trap, and every neighbor around this area knows what I'm talking about during large storm events. The drainage area is quite extraordinary, even 40-some acres. And so it was actually part of our stormwater levee project study. So quite extensive. And the design here on this project calls out a detention basin that seemingly is the size of about 2 football fields on a square footage basis and approximately 4 to 5 feet deep. It's 11,000 cubic yards. And it's a lot of dirt to move. The city became owners in this project in 2019. And for the last 30, 40 years, I've heard from one neighbor that city manager after city manager claims that this is going to get fixed someday. And I don't know that this is the penultimate fix because the elevation problem is so poor here. But we contracted an engineer to study this and put an engineer behind this to calculate the storm flow that would head into an area like this and be able to capture that amount of water, hold it so it can slowly drain out to the proper location. So that 10-year storm event can be held at this location without causing any sort of issues whatsoever. And we've talked before about this particular project, and coincidentally right after a pretty large rain, and you've seen what I'm talking about as a result of this. So again, this is just a public hearing, but I'm taking an opportunity to explain it just a little bit for the public record. But ultimately, the objective here is to protect the private property around the area and solve a water issue that would send the flow correctly into the Platt Street system. And we've looked at every option there is that would make sense, or at least practically make sense. Like, why can't this just head into the Platt Street system? And the Platt Street system wasn't designed to do that. It never was for $1 problem. Would have cost a lot more money to get the piping correct, and then there would have been a second phase project that would have sent storm flow from about that location over to Prairie Creek somehow, and it just wasn't practical. So this is the best solution that we have to present to you to solve this long term.
Okay, anybody else?
Motion to close the public hearing?
Okay, we got a motion by Lyon,
Second.
seconded by Rickrell. There's no discussion. Go ahead and take the roll.
Colister?
Yes.
Alinger?
Yes.
Bennett?
Yes.
Rickrell?
Yes.
Lyon?
Yes.
Okay, that motion passes. Item B is a public hearing on the proposed sale of real estate generally described as a portion of parcel 146-181-940-102-100, also known as 1015 East Platt Street. It's approximately 70,072 square feet in size, and it would be sold to T M Investments L.C. for the total sum of $34,285.71.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, another public hearing on this transaction, which is required by code for acquisition or sale. And seeing no one tonight, but this is a part of the project land that we acquired in 2019 that helps make this project possible. The funding will certainly help. We've had a discussion before about what we're seeking, and this is the exact dollar on a per acre basis of what the city acquired it for in 2019. And the imagery is depicted in the resolution item later in this agenda, but it's a small area in size compared to the rest of the site. I don't have anything else to add to this unless, Tom, you do, but Tom's with us tonight and is the potential buyer of the property.
Okay, anybody have anything to add? Anybody want to address the council? Anybody on Zoom?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, we got a motion by Lyon to close the public hearing,
Second.
seconded by Bennett. If there's no discussion, take the roll.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister.
Yes.
Okay, now we move on to item 8, which is our consent agenda, which is the minutes of our March 17th regular city council meeting. Our bills payable through April 7th, 2025, in the amount of $467,529.99. The reappointment of Mark Lyon to the Downtown Incentives Board. And an amended Class E retail alcohol license filed by Casey's Marketing Company. A renewal of a Class C retail alcohol license filed by Bill's Tavern Incorporated. The renewal of a Class B retail alcohol license filed by Can City. And the renewal of a Class E retail alcohol license filed by Fast Tracks Incorporated.
So moved.
Okay, we got a motion by Rickrell,
Second.
seconded by Bennett. Any discussion? Then take the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister,
Yes.
Alinger.
Yes.
All right, now we're moving on to new business. We have no old business, so we move on to new business, which is a resolution approving East Maple Drainage Project plans, specification, and form of contract, and authorized to go out for competitive bidding.
I don't have anything further to add, Mayor. Next time we talk about this, I hope to have construction offers for you.
Okay,
So moved.
Second.
motion by Lyon, seconded by Bennett. Is there no discussion? Then take the roll.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item B is a resolution approving sale of real estate generally described as a portion of parcel 146181940102100, also known as 1015 East Platt Street. It is approximately 70,072 square feet in size and to T M Investments L.C. for the amount of $34,285.71.
So moved.
Motion by Hollister,
Second.
seconded by Bennett. Any discussion on this? And take the roll.
Lyon,
Yes.
Hollister,
Yes.
Alinger,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell.
Yes.
Okay, that passes. Item C is a resolution approving City Hall parking lot reconstruction. It's a bid from the County Line Concrete in the amount of $69,839.56. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. We're getting into two items that are fairly light, I think, but needed in the city. So our parking lot out here is really nothing to be proud of, and you know that. And we've been working on our ADA accessibility in City Hall for a variety of reasons. A lot of elderly folks come here to pay their bills in person, and it's something that we want to make sure is in good shape. Not just for those reasons, but the condition of the parking lot is quite poor out back. We've pot filled it, not just pot filled it, but excavated it a couple times over and re-rocked it and back. We don't necessarily feel that asphalt is the appropriate solution now. The accepted life of concrete is 50 years. Asphalt street is 20 years. We expect a concrete improvement to really provide a good long-term value for the city. There are no plans to move from this facility, so we feel like this is a good, worthy investment, and it's been budgeted for out of some prior investment interest that we received in the general fund CIP that's unassigned. And there was some discussion that we had at Finance and Personnel Committee about how to use those interest revenues, and this is one of the objectives that we were discussing to improve some of the conditions around City Hall. In recruiting these bids, John met with every single one of these bidders. Some we're very familiar with, several that were given to us by a local contractor as trusted subs for this scale of project. The winning bidder, actually, or the recommended bidder, is the same company that's working at Sunshine's parking lot over at the daycare center currently. The lot looks fantastic. There's a number of good bids here, and they range from $69,000 to $95,000, quite the spread. Don't have any reference check reason or any other reasons not to believe County Line wouldn't do a great job. I think the bigger question is why asphalt versus concrete, because it's probably a $20,000 difference that we're talking about, but we believe that it's going to provide a better value long-term for us.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion by Colister, seconded by Bennett. Any discussion? Take the roll.
Colister,
Yes.
Alinger, Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon.
Yes.
Okay, that one passes. Item D is a resolution approving Fifth Ward Park and Grove Street Ball Field West parking lot reconstruction, let me start over. A resolution approving Fifth Ward Park and Grove Street Ball Field West parking lot reconstruction bid from River City Paving in the amount of $130,145.77.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So River City Paving, well, hopefully here, River City Paving owes a lot of work to the city of Maquoketa at the wastewater plant, maybe this item, streets, and they're setting up a local asphalt plant, we heard.
Yep.
So it might, in addition to the construction project at Summit in Maine, we might have River City Paving in town too very soon. So anyway, River City Paving was the single bidder and a parking lot proposal for the Parks Board and for the city to upgrade some of our parking lots in the parks, which are also in pretty poor shape. So, didn't think there was necessarily as large of a reason for us to go as far as a concrete parking lot at something like Fifth Ward Park, but asphalt will be able to treat us okay and good. And you may have noticed a lot of park improvements here over the last couple weeks. But this item is really a result as well of the school transaction and funding some major park projects and putting us in a position of being able to execute some capital improvements that were really previously out of reach without that transaction. So the price offered is really quite good given the size of the lots. John did reach out to 3 companies. Still yet, we only have 1 bid. We have no reason to be suspicious of the price. It's something that, we recommend, and I think it would give a nice, crisp, finished look to Grove and Fifth Ward.
So moved.
Before you go on, what's the longevity of the asphalt?
Probably 20 to 30 years.
20 to
And the reason that we went asphalt on this, because we have no water issues at Fifth Ward sub-base like we do out here at
Sure.
City Hall.
Okay.
So we felt comfortable going with asphalt in those 2 parts.
Okay, thank you.
Doing a really great job of cleaning that and getting that area ready too.
Yeah, we're working on it.
You've done a lot of work.
I'm hoping by the end of the week, we might have the pad poured for the pavilion up there at Fifth Ward.
Oh, wow.
So we could call Rivers in to start building on it, 10 days or so after
Yeah.
that.
You're working fast. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going along good.
Second.
Thanks.
Thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt that person.
Mayor's like,
It's
what's going on?
I think we got a motion by Alinger.
No, Bennett.
Motion by
I
Bennett.
had a question, didn't get it in there before, sorry.
Motion by Bennett, seconded by Lyon. Any discussion? Take the roll.
Alinger,
Yes,
Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
All right, that passes. Item E is a resolution setting a public hearing for April 21st, 2025 at 6 PM on the fiscal year 2025-26 budget.
So moved.
second.
Motion by Colister, seconded by Alinger. Any discussion here? Take the roll.
Bennett,
Yes.
Rickrell,
Yes.
Lyon,
Yes.
Colister.
Yes.
Alinger.
Yes,
Okay, that one passes. Item 11 is reports and communications. Is there anything from anybody on the council they want to bring up?
I don't know, Josh, Josh might bring this up, but the parks boards have put up new signs at the parks and they look fantastic. So if you get a chance, drive by and check them out. They all coincide really good with the theme of the park and they look really, really great.
Good. Anybody else?
Not seen him yet.
City manager?
Yeah, we were talking beforehand. I'm not exactly good at gardening or plant selection or anything, so if anyone has any brilliant ideas and some inspiration to recommend things, talk to Councilman Bennett. The only thing I'll mention, it's the obvious topic of the last week, is the South Main and Summit intersections well underway in construction. So John took some calls, and I don't know, I think we only took one call in the office that I'm aware of, and it's about trash pickup. And just want to cover a little bit of ground here, just for your awareness. Trash pickup is normal. People can put out their cans right where they normally would. Dittmer is going to go into the area, I guess that says road closed ahead, that's still open to local traffic. So do keep in mind that there's no change there and that South Main businesses are open. John and Brendan did I think, a really great job today of waiting and seeing how the contractor was going to set up their signage and then thinking about where else do we need signs and how are we adjusting to oversized trucks coming in and kind of getting conditioned to what the conditions would be. So, and John's been working with the school district really well even before this, so I think it's gone pretty well. And still yet, we're going to put on supplemental signage. I think we, both agree that some more directional signs of, hey, head this way, and some things could really kind of help guide some traffic around the area, as well as reminding on South Main Street that the businesses are open. So I think I drove by Dairy Queen at 3:30 or 4, and it didn't seem as busy in my, that's an uncommon sight in my opinion in Maquoketa. So we need to do as much as we can to remind everyone that those businesses are still open and, are accessible to local traffic. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach the office, but we're still in a very early adaptation phase for traffic on the intersection and adjusting to it this week.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Rickrell, seconded by Bennett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned.